I got to get a theme song or something so I can have something to play in case I'm not quite ready. All this running around like a head with my chicken cut off, trying to get it set up. I forgot to put my oil on, so that's going to take a minute or so to heat up yet. But in the meantime, I can show you some really cool stuff I got for a really good price. Let me get over here. Try and get my mic. Hopefully you can hear me all right. The mic seems to pick up pretty good from over there. I got to get a drink of water. In fact, I better have some water over here where it's close to hand. And let me see if I got everything I actually need. I need my towel because it's hot and sweaty working over there. I got a little bit warm in the house because I got my big stove going too. Trying to get a little bit of coals built up on that. It's going to turn cold overnight, so I wanted to get her built up good. But anyhow, the things I was going to show you, well, let me check my oil first. Might be able to get into this sooner than I thought. I want my oil up to about 350 degrees. And we're not there yet. Up to about 110. Which I suppose is a good start. Now, check my fire. You need a little bit more wood in my fire so it keeps roaring along. And I'll open up my damper a little bit. There we go. I don't need quite as hot of a fire, as hot and fast of a fire as I would need for frying something, but I do need, a bit more heat than just letting it simmer along. Anyhow, things I was going to show you. I got these on a local auction site. Let me show you the first two things. There's 4 items. I paid $22 for it. Paid $30 for shipping. First thing I got is this round griddle. This is it's a stamped steel griddle. You can see where they roll the edges over to make a handle. It's a fairly heavy thing. You can't really see it, but on the handle it says solid steel. That's one of those stamped steel griddles. You see stamped steel, we call them cowboy skillets a lot of times. I see those fairly regular. They're fairly inexpensive, but it's kind of a neat thing. I'll get that cleaned up. Put that down there. But that wasn't what I was really interested in. They also have this nice big BSR. That's an 11¼ inch. I don't know if you can quite see it there. 11¼ inch breakfast griddle. Kind of a neat thing. But that wasn't what I was really after. But for $22 for 4 items, that's a hell of a good deal. The last 2 items, the pictures didn't show it really good, but this looked like it was kind of a blue enamel pen, and it is. It's number 5. It's got a nice dark blue enamel on it. Not the greatest shape, but that is a favorite. I don't know if you can quite see it. Some of the enamel on the bottom is getting kind of bad. A few chips on the side, but there's no enamel on the inside, so that'll make a nice little usable skillet when I get it cleaned up. Nice blue enamel. I like that color. That'll be really pretty when I get it cleaned up. Too bad it's kind of chewed up, but that really wasn't what I was after. What I was after, set that side, wipe the sweat off. I can't find my wood stove cooking hat. What I was really after was this. That's a big baled griddle. It's a number 16. And I thought in the pictures I could make out a favorite Smiley logo. And by God, that is. That's a number 16 favorite Smiley logo round griddle. It's in pretty good shape, a little bit of rust, but no real pitting on it. And I was tickled to death to get that for 20 bucks plus 3 other things. So keep an eye on some of your local auctions. You know, sometimes people recognize things, but look close at the pictures, and sometimes you can really come out good. For a total of $55, I think it was, for the price of the stuff and the shipping, that was definitely well worth it. You'll see the big griddles all that often. You very seldom see the favorite ones. I have a big Griswold, a couple of big Griswolds, but I got a 12 and a 14. I think that's the only 16 I got. I have to double check. Might be a 16 and a 14 of the 2 big Griswolds I have. But you get that cleaned up, that's a $200 or $300 item. See how my oil's doing. Oh, it's climbing. Still got a bit to go yet, though. Still only up to about 150. I will move this. You want to be really careful if you have to move a pot full of oil on a wood stove. Slide her over here. Should be a little hotter. I'll come over here for a bit and see if I can catch up on the comments. Duck under all my wires. Someday I'll get a little better setup for all of this. Girls tried to make rosettes. They gave up and you end up having to cook them. They can be a little bit frustrating sometimes if the irons are too hot or too cold, or if your oil is too hot or too cold. Let's see here. Let me go back a little bit. One steel, yeah, that was a hell of a deal. On the picture, I could just barely see. It looked like the. Oh, don't start with the wires, cat. Hang on here. She's got her scratching post tipped over and tangled up in the cord for the light over there. I don't need you playing with the cords or knocking the light over. There. Stand up your scratching post. You can attack that if you want. That's what it's there for. You could be 21 for the favorite cash. Yeah, it was definitely worthwhile. Like I said, it's $22 for all 4 of them, plus the shipping, and it was really hell of a good deal. Like I say, I could just barely see the end of the smile on the favorite logo, and figured it'd be worthwhile just for see if I could get it for that price, and I did. And they didn't even show the back of that. Well, they didn't really show the back of anything. They showed the back of the griddle, of course, because I could see that, and the square skillet, BSR one. But they didn't show the backs of the other 2. So I wasn't really sure even if the enameled one exactly what color it was. Kind of looked like a little bit of looked like it was a bluish enamel. But yeah, it turned out to be a favorite, which is neat. Not the greatest shape, but definitely going to be something you could use. Thought you were the one to collect the cowboy skulls. Yeah, I've got a couple of them, a couple of big ones. I've never quite gotten around to dealing with them. But they're a neat thing. And you usually find them pretty reasonable in antique shops or secondhand stores. The stamped steel cowboy skellets, $5-10. You can usually pick one up pretty good price. I had to explain you don't dip the whole rosette in the batter. Yeah, you don't. I'll show you that when we get that far. I'm going to check my oil here pretty soon. Yeah, caught up on the things, and I got to grab a skewer to unrosette my rosette irons. Ducking under wires. Like I said, someday I'll get a decent setup. What I got's not bad for what I do most of the time, but it would definitely be handier. Knock my sweat a little bit. Definitely wish I could have found my hat. I don't know where in the hell I put it. Getting up around 200, so we ain't got that much farther to go. I will carefully put this somewhere a little bit hotter. Have a look at the fire. Might kick that up a little bit too. Like I said, you want to be real careful moving oil around on a wood stove, because if you slop some, if you spill enough of it, it'll get down between the cracks and get in the firebox, and it will ignite. So you want to be kind of half-assed prepared for a fire. You want to be careful that you don't spill any. What are we making tonight, Mud? We are making rosettes. Now, rosettes are a Scandinavian favorite. Usually see them this time of year. And Wagner and Griswold, Nordic Ware, several other companies made rosette irons. Sometimes they call them patty molds. The Griswold and Wagner ones are called patty molds. But that's the shape of your traditional rosette, either that or the bullseye. Now Nordic Ware makes one that's shaped like a butterfly. A lot of different shapes. These are Griswold patty molds. This is an Alfred Andresen patty mold. It's a heart-shaped one, and there's a little cup-shaped one. The thing is, the handles are not interchangeable on these. The threads are close, but not close enough. If you try and force them, it'll strip it. But this is an Alfred Andresen one, and so is that little cup-shaped one. If this cools off enough when I'm making other ones that I can trade them around, I will, just to give her a try. But I've got these. Got a bowl of batter. The batter is real simple. It's 2 eggs, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sugar. You kind of beat them together a little bit. Add a cup of milk. Mix that all up. And then slowly stir in a cup of flour, and you should get a nice thin batter out of it. Well, not really thin. We'll see how this is as far as thickness goes. Might be a little thick. We'll give it a try if my oil ever gets heated up. Hog Wild needs to get his out. Take a picture, a lot of different shapes and some dual handles. Yeah, a lot of the Nordic ware and the other ones, they had a forked handle so you could do two at a time, which is nice. Huey has all the goodies. Yeah, Huey's got some stuff, that's for sure. I can find the boxes on the back of the old Alfred Anderson ones. There's a big disclaimer how they're not genuine if you paid less than 50 cents for them, and he'll come after you if you did. Alfred wasn't just messing around. They're warming up good now. Getting up around 2:30. A little bit more. Would have been nice if I'd done this beforehand, but I didn't. I was busy getting everything else set up. I'll come over here for another minute or so and read the comments. So what were those used for? Tea parties? The patty molds, the the heart shaped and the cup shaped one I showed you. You could fill those with something, a fruit filling like a tart, cream fillings, all kinds of different stuff you could put in them. A salmon salad kind of thing. Lots of different things you could put in them. The Rosette ones, the snowflakes and the bullseyes, those you would eat them just as they were. You'd dust them with powdered sugar. I got some powdered sugar over there. And I got some powdered sugar over there, and I'll dust those down once I get a bunch of them made. Yeah, you can fill them with, jam or any kind of fruit, things like that. Like I said, the little rosette ones are generally just eaten as they are. Like I said, a real simple recipe for the batter, and not a whole lot to them, really. What's the value of a complete John C. Johnson combo cooker? I really don't know. The complete ones are scarce. You can find the skillet lid that has a name on them. They're not common, but they're not terribly hard to come by. And you can usually get the lid for around $50. The rest of it are unmarked, but I don't know what they go for. And if you have a complete set, I really don't know. I would guess complete, probably 250 to 350, maybe. I mean, that might be a little high on the 350 end of it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see at least 250 for it, for a complete set, because you don't come across the complete ones very often. I think I just about caught up. We have a nice complete set. One with a nice skillet, fitted small pot. Yeah, like I say, I'm not sure, really what a complete set would sell for. You're kind of on your own for that. Look on eBay, see what they're selling for there. It'll give you an idea, at least what you can find some that have sold and check to see what they went for. It'll give you an idea of what people are willing to pay for them, at least. All right, we should be just about ready to go here. Don't forget my towel. Now the oil's starting to smell like it's warm. I think we can give that a try. We're up to about 275. Should be enough to get a start on it. Now, to make your rosettes, get some of these a little better organized here. Got less stuff here than I normally do, and it's even more chaotic. All right, get these guys set aside here. What you do is you dunk the first one you make, you dip your iron in the oil, get your iron warmed up a bit. I want to gently slide this over here. Get your iron warmed up a little bit. Dip it in the batter. Don't go over the top of your rosette. That should pick up some batter if it's not too thick. Damn little. But no, that isn't hot enough yet. Gonna have to warm her up a bit more. Maybe not too bad. She's starting to bubble and cook. You only need to cook these for about 30-35 seconds. I might need to thin that batter down a little bit. We'll see how it turns out. I didn't get a whole lot of batter on this one. But now that it's cooked through, it should heat up good. Like that little. Nope. Yeah, a little bit too cool on my oil yet. Been messing around 20 minutes and I haven't even got one made yet. That's just embarrassing. Like I said, I didn't have my oil ready. All my running around getting prepared. It's the one thing I forgot to do, and it's probably the most important. Yeah, this is not going to work out very good. Yeah. I think my batter's a little too thick and my oil's a little too cold. We get a little bit of milk to thin that batter down. Half and half, actually. I'm out of milk. just a slug. A little bit more. Yeah, that looks better. Spoon there and set this aside. And we'll see where my oil is at. It's getting there, but I'll let her get a little hotter yet. Let's see if I can get this one cleaned off. Still too warm to get a hold of it up there, though. Put her in, let her cook a little bit more. Ooh, still warm. Let it cook a little bit more and get crispier. Hopefully that'll come in. Yeah, I'll drop a little batter in it next time. Make sure that's ready to go. Just rushing things a little bit, trying to get this show on the road. And you shouldn't do that. It seldom works in your favor. An exciting show watching me scrape the Rosette iron clean. All right. I'll dump these off. Fire looks pretty good though. Give a little bit more. Fuel that up a bit more. Move it back where it's a bit hotter. getting closer. Oops. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get some made tonight. Anyone have a California acorn pan you can borrow? Yeah, I'm sure those go over big at the church potluck. And they are pretty phallic looking though. Kitty played on your keyboard. Yeah, that reminded me. Still had my keyboard on. I usually turn it off because otherwise the cat runs across it. Half hour into the show, I haven't accomplished a damn thing yet. You've never seen a rosette at this rate, you never will. I'm working on it. Got off to a little slow start this afternoon getting set up. And by the time I did, I had spaced off my oil. Yeah, mouse trap went off. Yes, the mouse trap. I woke up the other day and I had mouse turds in my silverware drawer. Between the cat inside and all the cats outside, there shouldn't be a mouse within a mile of this place, and yet they still managed to get in. Hopefully the mouse will quit struggling before too long. All right, we got to get closer. Check my temperature. We're up to 300. I'll give them a little drip of batter and see if that. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe now we are finally in business. Drop a little batter in there. It popped right back up to the top, like Huey said it should. So that's definitely got to be pretty close. Yeah, I wasn't happy to find mouse turds in my silverware drawer because silverware is something you put directly in your mouth. I really don't want any mouse turds on it, so I'm going to have to wash everything again out of the silverware drawer. Now, let's try this again. Get the iron heated up a little bit. Shake the extra off. There, she stuck to the iron like it should have. And in we go. Bring this back here, where I'm not right over the hottest part of the stove with my hand. Knock that knife off. And you fry these for about 30 seconds or so. You can tell when they start getting browned. And it looks like it's starting to peel off of the iron a little bit. you can dunk them all the way into the oil, but you don't want to dunk them all the way into the batter. You want to leave the top of your iron clean so that it doesn't wrap around it too bad. I think this one's just about done. You dump the oil off. And it should peel right away. Should being the operative word. Of course, the first of anything usually doesn't turn out all that great. Doesn't want to let go. Might have undercooked it. There's a knack to these, and it'll take me a minute to get the knack back. Let this guy sit aside. We'll try his friend. Yeah, I undercooked it. I'll try for the twofer, see how that goes. Might need to get a pair of gloves for this. It's getting hot on my hands. Let these cook a bit more. And my irons might not be heated all the way through either. That definitely makes a difference. I'm having just a hell of a time with these tonight. I have actually made rosettes before, honest. And they're usually a lot more successful than this. That one's coming off though. Hey! I got one. There's my first rosette of the evening. After your first go around, once your iron is hot, you don't need to dunk it in the oil again. You just go right straight into the batter. And things should take off fairly quickly from there. And get these other guys cleaned off, might be able to get some other ones going, get a little production underway. And you cook them up until they brown a bit. Is that batter like pancake mix, just thinner? Kinda. There's no baking powder or anything else in it. It's just 2 eggs, a teaspoon of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You mix those up, add a couple of milk, stir that all together. Then you slowly add in a cup of flour, and you beat that until it's nice and smooth. And I had to thin this one down a little bit, but that's really all there is to it. You should be able to make quite a bunch of rosettes out of this. Set this guy down for a second and let him cool. Try and get these first couple of failures off of there. That's coming off good now. That guy there popped right off like he should. So hopefully my irons haven't gone too cold. Might be a little bit. You want to get them going right away again while they're still fairly hot. Eat some of my failures. Once I get a few made, I can dust these with powdered sugar. I'm almost afraid to try that heart-shaped one for right now. Yeah, Griswold sold a bunch of different sets. Some they would sell with 2 with a snowflake and the bullseye. Then there was another pair that was a heart and a cup, like this Anderson one I have. And then sometimes they sold them with a patty bowl, which was basically a small Scotch bowl. It said patty bowl on it. And some of those had 2, some of those had 4 different irons in them. There's a lot of variations. But the patty bowls themselves usually go for $80-90 a piece. And the irons kind of varies. I've seen them sell for $20. I've seen them sell for $50 for Griswolds. They're kind of all over the place. You just gently poke these loose. It should pop right off of there. I'll check the temperature on my oil a bit here. Not sure where we're at. Seems like it's cooling off some, actually. Yeah, a little bit. So, move it back to the hotter part of the stove. And hopefully that'll make things go a little easier for me. Because, as you can see, if your rosettes come out a little undercooked, they don't come off the iron very good. But that one did, eventually. This one is just being a pain in my ass. I'm going to dip that again and see if maybe it will come off with a little more batter on it this time. The perils of cooking on a wood stove, especially deep frying, kind of tough to control your temperature. If you had just a deep fryer going, you could set it at 350 and you got no problems. But if you want to be foolish like me and insist on doing it on the wood cook stove, you just got to make the best of it. I'm going to grab myself a pair of gloves because I'm scorching the back of my knuckles. So set them down. Yeah, you don't want the back of your hand to start looking like that. So, I'll get some gloves on. Now, are these going to come off? This guy is still being a pain. You know what? You can just fry. This mirror looks like it might come off all right. It's coming. I'm going to make one more attempt. Get a few of these off. They are coming. They're just being a pain. Once you get it started, it should just peel right off. There. Ugh. There, that cooked up a little better this time. So hopefully it'll come loose. But it isn't gonna. Not worth a damn. Well, as long as my iron is still good and warm for the snowflake one, I'll make some more of those. And I'll get this other iron heated up and see if I can't make one at least of the heart-shaped cups. Well, that's going to just run right off. That does not want to take at all. Kind of frustrating, but sometimes things can be. Almost taken batter. What I'm going to do is move this aside. Put this over here. Get my glove off. That one ain't going to cooperate either. Huh. It's a grand conspiracy, I tell you. I did get some out of it, though, so it's not entirely a failure. What I'm going to do is powder these up quick, show you what they're supposed to look like when they're finished. And I'll finish up the rest of my batter later because it's getting late and I'm getting frustrated. So, let me move my oil. I'm going to take this and put it over on the stove, off the heat entirely, being very careful. There. Got that safely out of the way. Get the 4 good ones I did get out of this whole ordeal. Well, 3 good ones and a couple that are kind of rubbery. Get my powdered sugar out. Flip them over. Dust them down good. I'm gonna move my camera and get the hell away from the stove while it's getting this good. So let me close that. Go these lights. Move this over here. I haven't abandoned yet. Turn that light off over there. And move my microphone. Thunk. Big noise on the mic, I'm sure. Now, get my camera where it belongs, or at least somewhere near. That should work there. Untangle my cords. Hey, there I am. Hot and sweaty from sweating over the stove. See, the back of my hand got a little bit red. Now, I have the crispier one here. This is what they should look like after you get them all powdered up. A couple of them are a little bit squishy and soggy. They're undercooked. I couldn't get my oil as hot as I really wanted it to be. I gotta do a little bit more using of that stove, get used to how it cooks on the top. It bakes really nice. I was happy with that, how the bacon works on it. But I'm not quite used to running it for frying yet. I need to get more heat on the cooktop without it running away on me. Just seeing the device you've never known how to use. Yeah, what I'll do later on is I'll fire up the deep fryer and finish up that batter and make a proper batch of rosettes. Let me grab one of the crispier ones here. Take a bite out of them. And they're really good. They're thin, light, crispy. Kind of an airy little wafer thing with some powdered sugar on them. And the cat just cracks you up. Yeah, she's quite the little beast. She's sitting right down there. She likes to let her eat the stove when it's going. Apparently it's not too hot for her, which is good because it means it's not too hot on the floor either. back up and see if I can catch up with some of these. Yeah, that wasn't wasn't nearly as exciting of a video as I hoped it would have been. Usually, once you get going on those, I mean, it takes about 30 seconds and you can bang out a ton of them in a short period of time. Like I say, I'll get that rest of my battery used up, make a bunch of these. Would be frustrated and throwing things by now. Yeah, it's like I said, I wasn't getting the oil quite hot enough, and I'll work it out. I need to do a lot more cooking on that stove and figure out how it where the hot spots are. Probably could have moved them right over the firebox, but when you're deep frying something, you got to be careful with it. You don't want things to get out of hand, and things can definitely get out of hand and overheated real fast on something like that. You got to be smarter than the object you're operating. That would help. Been using baby diaper bandanas rolled up for years. Yeah, I've got it's a welding hat, but I don't know where the hell it went. It does a good job of keeping the sweat out of my eyes, at least. How does the batter not fall through the holes? You wouldn't dip them all the way in. I had another, let me grab one of the irons that I didn't use. On any of there's a little cup iron. On any of them, you wouldn't dip it all the way into the batter. You only want to come up to about there. It'll puff up and kind of curl over the top a little bit, but if you dunk them all the way in, there's no way you can get them out. You want to have the top of the iron free and loose, and normally they would, like I say, within about 30 seconds or so, they would be crispy, browned, and they just pop right off real easy. Another last section for cooking with welding gloves. Yeah, it's getting a bit intense. It's still kind of red there on the back of my knuckles. That's nothing new. I've gotten my hands hot quite a few times. Is the color darker than it looks online, golden brown? Not really. They're a bit under, but they should be more browned than what I got them. They just weren't cooperating. Like I said, it's knuckles have fronts and backs. Oh yeah, you get them hot enough, you'll find both sides. Yeah, all I need now is 4 or 5 kids yelling, "Where's mine?" I've had over 30 years to have wood handles. What do you think they are? They're probably Nordic ware. Nordic ware made a lot of them, both cast iron and aluminum. There are aluminum ones, but Nordic ware usually had a wooden handle, and a lot of them they had a double thing where you could put 2 irons on the same handle. Yeah, patty bowl of 4 irons, 80 or 90, and let it get away. Yeah, that was pretty cheap. Like I say, usually the patty bowls alone go for 80 or 90. So, and then with the box and the irons, especially all 4 irons, they go for quite a bit more than that. Swedish, Swedish, Norwegian, they're a Scandinavian thing. And traditionally, they make them around this time of year over the holidays. You can make them whenever you feel like. Why doesn't she hunt? I think the mouse, has been hiding in my drawers. He got in behind the cabinet, and he's in there. Like I said, I found mouse turds in my uh, uh, silverware drawer. So I got a trap in there, and like I said, I heard it snap. I think I caught one. I haven't looked yet. But if the cat doesn't get her shit together, she might have to get fired and replaced. Never heard of rosettes until tonight. Well, you've heard of them. You haven't seen them terribly well done, but you get the general idea. Hotter oil, and when they're done right, when they're cooked right, they usually they pop right off. But these just weren't cooking fast enough. Usually, they cook right up and pop right off, and you can go to town making them pretty quick. Just bang them out one right after the other. But anyhow, get caught back up on the comments a little bit here, and we'll wrap her up. Been at this for an hour. Like I said, it wasn't it wasn't quite as exciting of a show as I'd hoped it would be. Got off to a little bit of a slow start, and tapered right off from there. Need to do a couple of shots. Probably will as soon as I get done here. I don't have it handy, otherwise I would. No, I did take my bottle. I used to have a bottle sitting down there, and must have moved it. I do have a cat sitting right down there, though, knocking stuff around. Honey Badger should be alive again Thursday. Hopefully I'll catch you. Well, I'm working Thursday, so 7 to 8 o'clock. I usually get up about 9, so maybe I'll catch the tail end of you or not. But yeah, go over and check out Honey Badger. I did catch him one time. Good to show I stole the griddle. Yeah, I got that. That was a hell of a find. And should clean up pretty good. It's a little rusty, but it ain't too bad a shape. Doesn't look like it's pitted real bad or any real corrosion on it. So once that cleans up, should be pretty good. And like I say, usually, those big number 16s like that, pretty much any brand is going to be around $200. And favorites aren't very common. I mean, you'll find Griswolds. Seem to see more Griswolds of the really big ones like that, the 14s and the 16s. Some Wagners, but hardly ever see favorites. And that was just pure dumb luck that I come across that one that cheap. Now all you have to do is dig yours out and see which ends fit in the handles. Yeah, they look like they're the same size and the same threads between the Griswolds and the Andersons, but they're not. They don't fit. I mean, it'll start on there, but it won't thread all the way on. And if you try and force it, of course, you'll end up stripping it out. So you don't want to do it. What's the best way to get the adjustment handles on the stove to move easier? Firebox lever is stuck, rust mostly. You got to get the rust off first. You might have to take some stuff apart to get at it and clean it up. Get her down to good clean metal. After that, you can use graphite on them. The graphite doesn't burn away very, at least not too bad. But yeah, graphite works pretty good on stuff like that. Congratulations for the rosette. Well, like I said, I got a couple out of it, so you at least got an idea of what they're supposed to look like when they're done. They should be a little more golden brown than you dust them up with powdered sugar. But yeah, like I say, I'll finish off the rest of that with the deep fryer. Probably doing her job. It's hard to stop them when they're looking for warmth. Yeah, you get a big influx of them every year in the fall, and it's tough how to do. Tough to keep up with them. And once they get a good spot like that, I mean, the cat can't get them behind the cupboards. So they're pretty safe, and they're smart enough to stay where they're safe. Didn't know Favorite made them bale griddles. Yeah, they do, apparently. Made at least one of them, and I got it. Working at Ace Hardware with a cat named Buddy. You sell feed and you can't get them all. Yeah, they can get, they only eat so many of them. I thought it was a successful show. Watched it, watched what he did before, and they were awesome looking. Yeah, they're they're a lot of fun to make usually. And as I get the hang of how that stove cooks on the stove top, it would have been a lot easier. But it was worth a shot. And you don't know until you do something how it's going to work. Could have put it a little more directly over the fire, but I don't like doing that because, like I said, you can overheat the oil in a minute, and things can get drastically out of hand on you if you're not paying attention. So, but apparently that wasn't the warmest part of the stove, and trying to keep it to where I wasn't frying my hand in the process didn't help. So, I'll definitely get the hang of that stove, find out where the hot spots are and where things need to be. And I'll try her again sometime, but for tonight I will, fire up the deep fryer and do them that way. You're bidding on a favorite number 14 right now. Tough to find. Yeah, I haven't. I've never come across a number 16 favorite before, and I couldn't see what size it was. Just that it was a big, favorite baled griddle. I figured it was be a 12 or a 14 maybe, but yeah, it was the 16. So I was really surprised with that. And I figured it was, because like I said, I could, if you look close at the pictures, you could just see the tail end of the smile on the logo. So I was pretty sure it was a favorite. Nothing else. It was a big, a big baled griddle for $20. You're not going to pass up one of them, no matter what brand or even unbranded. So, anyhow, hope you enjoyed the show. Could have went better than it did, but didn't go too bad, I guess. It got a few rosettes out of the deal. And you saw some of the things you don't want to do. Make sure your oil is good and hot. Make sure your batter's thin enough. If it's too thick, it doesn't want to stick. Too thin might cause problems too, but too thick definitely does. And once you get the irons going in the right temperature, they're all warmed up good. Like I said, usually just do them one right after the other. So it's not as much of a struggle as I made it to be. But yeah, if you come across a set of, Griswold, the patty molds, they call them, I've seen them go anywhere from 20 to $60. I mean, the prices are kind of all over the place. Nordic ware, you can find those real easy. They're pretty much everywhere. They made cast iron and aluminum ones, and they both work pretty good. So definitely give them a try. They're a tasty little treat. They're a nice, light, crispy, airy sort of thing, and they're delicious. And if I can ever get these to work someday, we can make little tarts out of them, different things like that. So hopefully you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week with something. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure I was going to do this until the last minute, but I managed to, get it done anyway. Got a little bit of a late start setting up, and that didn't help matters either. Anyhow, enough of me bitching about my failure on the show. It's a learning experience. Make sure your oil's hot, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.